All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, very excited to talk to an individual coming off of an emphatic performance against Brian Maxwell as part of DBX 1. Some dirty boxing took place on March 22nd, and quite a few topics to discuss. Going to obviously touch on that great performance there, but great to have Uly Diaz on the program all the same. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
No, man, it's always great getting to chop it up. I'm kind of curious because with BKB or BYB, when you had officially made the announcement to kind of step away from combat sports a bit, now it's BKB, which we could probably touch on in a separate question even. But I'm curious, what was it about this dirty boxing opportunity that kind of like reignited that flame? Was it this like new rule set, like promotion on the rise? Kind of curious about that.
So I always said when I retired, if I have a good opportunity and it's something that's worth doing, then I'll definitely step back in. I never stop training. I'm always I train every day, like if I have a fight anyway. So this came at a very convenient time. I was ready to go. And the thing that really attracted me to it was exactly that I would be a pioneer of dirty boxing. I'd be in dirty boxing one. When you look back, hopefully they get to dirty boxing 300 and you get to look back and be like, man, the first guys on there, one of them was Uly Monster. And it was very nostalgic because I fought Brian Maxwell for my first fight in Bare Knuckle, which was back, in a different promotion in BKFC. So I got to fight him, my first opponent on DBX. So it was very, nostalgic in that way. And I got the same conclusion. I won with a first round TKO. So it was amazing, man. It was great to be part of the first.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I had seen you had a post kind of touching on, I guess, some of those facets, or there was a post from the Dirty Boxing Instagram account rather, where you were predicting that the outcome would play out similarly, getting the KO, and it definitely did. But there was a couple of anomalous things in the fight, like that early takedown, which was not
Yeah.
necessarily in the DBX rule set. But outside of that, did anything, surprise you in there?
No, that the takedown was surprising. It was actually a really we got close a couple times, but I blocked everything he threw and I got mine and mine landed.
And what was it like fighting under that rule set? It seems like it was a very natural, organic fit for you.
It definitely was. I felt at home there. I think the venue they threw it in was very nice. The ring is very nice, nicely set up. It was a great event, and yeah, I think the rule sets play right into my style of fighting.
Yeah, and it did seem cool because I was noticing in another post that it was the first time that they had had a combat sports event at the hangar and everything like that. So yeah, no, it just seemed like a great crowd. Like I feel like that Miami crowd, and I mean even just Florida in general, it seems like it has such a great appetite for combat sports.
No, it really does. And I'm born and raised in Miami, so I fought literally in my backyard, and I had the whole hometown crowd there, and it was amazing all the love and support that I got that night, man. We shut down the show.
Yeah, no doubt. And I thought it was cool. You had a very, I would say, like respectful call out and everything like that. Like, what was the, I guess, thought process behind calling out Mike Perry? I mean, I feel like he kind of even mentioned in the commentary he's looking for, an opponent
Yeah,
for dirty boxing. And yeah,
yeah. Well, me and Mike Perry, we're good friends. We've had two different occasions, and for some reason those contracts fell through, never came about. And like I said, I have nothing but respect for Mike Perry. He's a legend. He's been around a long time. He's a dog. But I think me and him would be an epic fight. A fight, and any promotion we do it in. But what better promotion to do it under his banner in DBX, and him and me put on a show either in Miami or Orlando where he's from. And I think we'll bring everybody out there. We'll blow the roof off the venue, and I think it'll be, an amazing fight.
Yeah, for sure. And there was a bit of a signal drop there in the call. So I just kind of wanted to clarify because there was mention of some contracts being on the table that didn't necessarily pan out. Like, was there a contractual agreement or contractual agreements, plural, to fight Mike Perry and BKFC? Was that what you were touching on there?
Yes, there was two different occasions. We had contractual agreements, and before the fight ever came to be, before they even made the graphics for the fight, um, those both fell through. The reasons I can't tell you why. I have no idea why.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, sometimes things just kind of pan out in that kind of regard, but it was cool to see. Yeah, it seemed like a very respectful call out situation. It seemed like Mike Perry even perceived it similarly, but you did mention his promoter role and everything like that. Like, what was it like getting to, interact with Mike Perry in like a promoter kind of capacity, like when he's wearing that hat?
Man, I gotta, hats off to him. He's doing an amazing job. I think what he has is gold. I think right now we're in the golden age of combat sports. We have a lot of new things on the rise. Bare knuckles really coming up quick. DBX is another thing. They got karate combat. They got a lot of different platforms for fighter right now, and a lot of different opportunities for fighters. So I think we're living in a great time for combat sports.
Yeah, I mean, even just what I've seen with, the former BYB, now current BKB, I mean, doing such great things with that, broadcast deal that is on Vice TV now and stuff like that. Like, what are your thoughts on the, rebranding of that promotion and just BKB now being on Vice TV? It seems huge.
I really love it. I think it was a great idea. I love the name change. I think again, we're bringing in BKB bare knuckle boxing. It originated in England. That's where everything is known from. That's the roots of it. So it's awesome to be able to bring it back basically to the roots and with the name change and everything they're doing behind the scenes. It's the company's really growing into something.
Yeah, it's really great, and it's cool to see a lot of the different analyst work that you're doing with the company, like you and Claudia Trejos. I feel like are a great combo that I often see. Like, what's it like, kind of dipping into that sort of portion of combat sports, like more of the analytical side of things?
Man, it's an honor to work with Claudia Trejos. She is a legend in the commentary, especially in combat sports and boxing. So it's amazing to work side by side with her. We have our own show called Against the Ropes, which we air on the BKB YouTube and also on her YouTube. So whenever you guys get a chance, go check that out. But it's amazing to be working behind the scenes. It's a lot less stressful than being there to fight.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And you have such a, wealth of insight from your overall combat sports endeavors, but certainly centric to the bare knuckle space. So it seems like a great fit, all things considered.
Yeah, absolutely, and I appreciate BKB. You know, so I truly appreciate the company because I got to retire from bare knuckle with them. I took a position in the company as a commentator. We're developing a lot of new content. So it was a great opportunity that they gave me, and I really thank them for that.
Yeah, no, it seems like you have some cool things going, all things considered, like the analyst role with BKB and then concurrently getting to compete with Dirty Boxing. And, part of that growth that I kind of wanted to touch on, because this would seem like a big development, the announcement that came out in the last few days that John Jones is now a co-owner of the league. So what are your thoughts on the reigning UFC heavyweight champion now being a co-owner or an owner and having that kind of stake within Dirty Boxing Championship?
Yeah, I saw that came out actually when I went on Instagram. I saw he had become co-owner. That's amazing. John Jones is the number one pound for pound. He's the GOAT. When anybody thinks about top fighters, he might be the first one on many people's list. He's a great guy. And so it's amazing. It was amazing to have him at the venue watching the fights and fighting under his banner as well.
And I'd be curious to get some clarification on this because I was scrolling through your Instagram and it was kind of posed as a question, like world record broken question mark, because there's some discourse about maybe there was a new fastest knockout in BKFC, and then it seemed like you were not necessarily in agreement with that, or you kind of highlighted some controversial component of what the world's fastest KO is. Like, do you still have the world's fastest KO? It would seem like Uly Diaz lost his signal, looking to get him back in here right now, and then reiterate the question here. Hey, how's it going?
Hey man, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to my phone there. It said it got too hot. I had it up on I had it up. There it is.
No
Yeah, I got the cold AC running on it now. I'm sorry about that.
worries, man.
You were saying something about clarification.
Yeah, because I was seeing on your Instagram or like a post you were tagged in at the very least where it was kind of touching on that somewhat recent, I guess, quick knockout in BKFC where some people were saying that that kind of established the new fastest KO record. But it seems like there's some kind of controversy around that. Like, do you still have the fastest KO in history?
Okay, so in my opinion, I think I still have the fastest knockout. And that's not taking anything away from what Justin Watson did. He definitely got a fast one. Um, but I got the fastest knockout on BKFC. I left the company. It kind of I guess I left them kind of with a bad taste in their mouth. I went to a different bare knuckle promotion, BKB, which I ended my bare knuckle career with. And if you watch both knockouts side by side, I mean, again, I let everybody, have their own opinion. Just look at them side by side, and if you do, mine is faster.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many variables to that, like when the referee intervenes, like when,
Right,
it's officially clocked. Like, yeah, I get what you mean.
right, right. No, and another thing about it too is, my knockout. The guy actually he was knocked out. He was sleeping when the other guy dropped him. The referee got it. He was down. He was kind of breakdancing on his way up. He was probably out of it. He probably wouldn't have lasted too much longer. But the referee didn't even give him a count. Well, he started the count and then he just waved them off all of a sudden. And then when you see the post-fight interviews for that fight, they said he had the fastest TKO, which would make more sense because the guy was, still conscious.
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, when you give it that distinction, definitely does make sense. Like, I kind of hear where you're coming from. I mean, I guess realistically, what it is in any event is just two great knockouts and can appreciate them for what they are, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I'm curious because obviously you're very focused on the task at hand when you're competing in something like Dirty Boxing Championship. But was there any like peripheral awareness subsequent to any of the other fights, like in terms of if you checked out either of the victorious performances from Andre Arlovsky and Yoel Romero?
Yeah, I definitely sat down and watched those legends, man. It was amazing to fight on the same card with them, and be the feature fight opening up for them to come out. It was amazing. Andrew Arlovsky, he's a vet. I've always been a fan of his. Yoel Romero, he's like a brother to me. He was my coach at one time for some MMA fights. It was amazing to see him succeed there as well. And he's got a lot of big things coming up with the GFL and so does Andre Arlovsky. So I'm I'm excited to see what they have coming up.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts on Global Fight League and what they're kind of like mapping out to do? It seems like a fairly ambitious endeavor, just considering like how many big name talent they have and all.
It does. It gets kind of confusing to me in some of the points that they're making. But it is, finance guys behind it. So there's big money being thrown at it. So I have a lot of friends that are involved and fighting for them and commentating on that on the Global Fight League GFL. So I'm looking forward to it succeeding.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool to see where it goes and kind of even underscores your prior point of what a great era it is to be in combat sports. Just seems like there's so much going on.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. And again, everybody knows that the Titan when it comes to combat sports is UFC. So if they go into this correctly and not trying to not trying to compete with UFC, then I think they'll do very well.
And I mean, you mentioned the Miami connection earlier. I mean, Jorge Masvidal is someone who also really waves that flag. There's like on and off rumblings about him returning to the UFC. Like, do you foresee Masvidal returning to the octagon this calendar year?
Man, I know that's in his plans. I actually called him out as well. I would love to fight George. He's another legend. And I got nothing but respect for him. Um, but I think that's again, if me and him fight in any venue in Miami, we'll blow the roof off of it. We'll definitely sell it out. So, and I think me and him would be a great fight. So I look forward to hopefully making that happen one day soon too.
Yeah, no, it seems like you're in a great position and have a lot of options.
Yeah, that's thank God for that, man. I put myself in a pretty good position, and as long as you keep winning, the doors keep opening.
And I guess kind of going back to your, I guess, analyst role with BKB, I mean, it seems like there's so much great fights coming up, so many great fights coming up to that point of just so many great things to look forward to, like that Podmore Markic fight coming up, and then Hawkins versus Marshman. Like it seems like there's really a lot to look forward to in that regard too.
Absolutely, BKB is really building up to be, the number one company in bare knuckle. They're building homegrown guys, and these are guys who already, have established themselves in BKB, have great records. These fights they're putting together are amazing. I don't know if you got to see over the weekend in Wolverhampton. It was LT Smash against James Canelli for the second time. That was an amazing fight. And if you ask me, bare knuckle pound for pound, I think BKB has the best guy in LT Smash.
Yeah, I mean, an incredible fighter. I feel like they have such a stacked roster in general that like really gives them that credibility for sure. I mean, like Gustavo Trujillo is another name that really stands out off the top of my head.
Absolutely. I actually saw Gustavo this morning on the track working out when I was there. That guy's a beast, man. He hasn't even gotten out of the first round, so and I don't see anybody standing in his way for too long, for a long time.
It was funny. My ex-girlfriend was really into bare knuckle boxing and she saw Gustavo Trujillo and she was like, his face is like unscarred. I'm like, well, he doesn't exactly face a lot of resistance in there or hasn't so far. So yeah.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He doesn't face too much resistance. You're absolutely right. And his fights are, I always think my fights are fast. His are extremely fast too, against bigger guys. So when he hits them, it's pretty much good night.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, it's been great getting to have you on and chat with you. It's always fun getting to talk to you. I feel like you've got great insights and just a cool juncture to get to talk to you after this dirty boxing championship endeavor you just partook in, but just also wanting to be mindful of your time and schedule, man. I'm curious if maybe you have a final parting thought you wanted to add as we're kind of wrapping up here on Bowks Talking Bouts.
Well, first off, I want to tell you thank you so much for the opportunity. I truly appreciate it. I'm glad we made this happen, and I look forward to fighting again under the DBX flag. I have a couple good opportunities that are coming my way. Nothing set in stone yet, so once it is, I'll reach back out to you, and we'll put that on the air for everybody to hear.
Yeah, definitely look forward to that, man. But at this juncture, great win. Really awesome to get to talk to you after it. And just, yeah, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, man. And thanks for coming on Bowks Talking Bouts.
Absolutely, you too, brother. Thank you so much.